This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and today I'm going to show you how to make this great little chocolate cupcake with this amazing Swiss meringue on top. Now to get started, I've gone ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees. That way it'll be hot when we're ready to bake the cupcakes. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take my cupcake liners and put them into my muffin pan. Now I'm going to start getting our batter together. And we're first going to start by getting a stick of butter, or a half a cup. And I don't soften my butter, I have to be honest with you. But what I do is once I take it out of the refrigerator, cut it in half lengthwise twice, and then I just run my knife through it, and I make these little cubes like this. And I find that they cream up really well in the mixer this way. Now over here at the mixer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my butter, I'm going to place it in here, and I'm going to let that start to cream up. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 1 cup of sugar. And I'm just going to sort of, slowly put the sugar in here because I'm going to want this to whip up nice and fluffy. And then at this point I'm also going to add my flavorings, and for this cupcake recipe I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm also going to put in a half a teaspoon of almond extract. I want this to get really nice and fluffy. I'm going to stop the mixer and I'm going to go ahead and get my dry ingredients together. I'm first going to start with my flour, and I'm not using my regular all-purpose flour. I'm going to be using cake flour. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 1/4 cups of cake flour into my bowl. Now the next thing I'm going to be adding to my flour is some cocoa powder, and I'm putting in a half a cup, and this is a Dutch process cocoa powder. It's really dark and really rich tasting. It doesn't have any sugar in it, but when you're making a chocolate cake or a chocolate cupcake, it adds a lot of flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my bowl. And now I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. Now this baking soda is going to be our leavening in this cupcake, because we're going to be adding buttermilk. And when you add buttermilk and baking soda, it makes this chemical reaction, and that's what makes the air bubbles to make the cake rise. And then I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to take my little whisk and I'm going to whisk this together. And this is a pretty important step here because we want to make sure that that cocoa powder gets nicely distributed through all of that flour. Now we're going to get our wet ingredients together. And the first thing we need to do is get 1 egg, and then we're going to add some buttermilk. Now buttermilk is something you really should shake up when you use it. Now I haven't opened this container. If I had, I would have kept this pinched and would shake it, because there are solids in here, and a lot of times it starts to sink to the bottom and you don't get all of your good buttermilk flavor that you can get. So first we're going to pour out 1 cup of this. It's really thick. And then I'm going to add to that 1 cup 2 more tablespoons, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to put everything together. So first thing I'm going to do is get my mixer going. I'm going to put in my 1 egg. And I want to let that really mix up well. Then I'm going to stop my mixer. I'm going to put in about half of my flour mix here with about half of the buttermilk. And then I'm going to put that on a low speed. And once it starts to come together, then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the flour and the rest of the buttermilk. Then I'm going to turn the speed up just to medium, And I want to get this all nicely blended. And that's it. I'm going to give the batter one last scrape down. Make sure there's no pockets of flour, and you can see there's all these great air bubbles here in the batter. So that means this is going to be a really nice and light cupcake. Okay, so now it's time to fill our muffin tins. So I'm just using my medium cookie scoop, and I'm going to go through and just give each well 1 scoop of cupcake batter. That way I can really evenly distribute this batter. So many times if you start with one of the giant cookie scoops, then you find, oh, that was really too much, and I get to the last 2 and there's not enough batter, and it's kind of tricky. So this way I start off with 1 scoop in each well, and then I just add to it as I go. So you can see every well has 1 scoop, so now I'm going to go back and divide the rest of the batter up by just topping off each one of the wells. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop these in my preheated oven, and they're going to take about 20 minutes to bake. Now here are our delicious cupcakes right out of the oven. Now it's always important that when you take the cupcakes out that you grab a toothpick and just poke it into one of the cupcakes, because you want to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. And the way you would tell is the toothpick would come out clean like this. Now I'm going to let these go ahead and sit here for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to transfer them onto a cooling rack and let them cool the rest of the way. Now we're going to frost these cupcakes with a Swiss meringue, and we're going to put it in like a double boiler like this. Now what I've done is I've taken a saucepan and I put about 2 inches of water in here, and then I just have one of my metal bowls that I'm going to sit right on top of here. Now you'll see that the bowl does not touch the water. We don't want it to do that, but we're going to go ahead and get this water to a simmer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 1/4 cups of sugar, and we're going to pour that into our bowl here. And then I'm going to add 1/3 cup of water. And then I'm going to separate out 3 eggs because I want 3 egg whites. So what I do is I set up a little apparatus like this. I have 2 little bowls and 1 medium-sized bowl. So what I do is over the small bowl, I take and I separate the egg white from the egg yolk like this. So in this egg shell, I've got the yolk. I'm going to put it into my center bowl, and then I'm going to take my egg white and put it into my larger bowl. That's where I'm going to be collecting all the egg whites. So here I have my 3 egg whites that I'm going to be using in the meringue, and then I have 3 egg yolks. Now what I'm going to do is just cover these over with a little plastic wrap and put them in the refrigerator, and that way I can use them for something else in the next day or so. So here go my egg whites into my sugar and water. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And then to give this meringue some really great flavor, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Now to get our meringue started, I'm going to use my hand mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and beat this up for about 1 minute. Now I have my water on medium-high heat, and you can see with the steam that it's got a nice boil going. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to a low because I just want it to simmer. And then I'm going to take my bowl with the egg whites in it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix this on a high speed for 7 minutes. Okay, so it's been 7 minutes, and look at how billowy this icing is. Well, it's really not icing, is it? It's a Swiss meringue. Now let's go frost the cupcakes. So here we are. We've got our Swiss meringue, just looks fantastic, and our cooled cupcakes. Now one of the things that's really neat about this Swiss meringue, it's not super sweet. And because it's so billowy, you can just pile it on high just like this. Isn't that amazing? Well, if you would like to give these chocolate cupcakes with Swiss meringue a try, just go to our website and visit the Cupcake show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. I'll see you next time.